everyone, and welcome to our Q&A with the film The Dummy and the filmmaker Sidney Kuehn. We are so thrilled to welcome him here to join us for this quick Q&A following hopefully your screening of his film. Sidney, welcome. It's great to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Sure. Sidney, can you maybe just tell us what grade you're starting this year and maybe what school you go to, where you live?
Well, I'm from Martinez, California in the East Bay area, and I'm a freshman at Loyola Marymount University this year.
Awesome. Yeah, congratulations. So you're just starting college. Fantastic. So did you make this, can you tell us maybe a little bit about your making of this film? I think you were part of a local San Francisco art and film program. Do you want to maybe tell us a little bit about that and kind of your experience creating this film with them?
Yeah, so I made this film as part of the SF Art and Film Summer Intensive. So that was like a 10-day film workshop that I did last summer. And it was basically just the entire time. We started from, just completely like the bare bones of the idea of the film. And then like bouncing ideas off of each other and everyone else at the workshop. And then eventually that turned into a treatment and then got feedback on that and then turned that into a script and read that and got feedback on that. And then eventually that turned into storyboards and got through together and shot it in a day and then edited it and now it's done. Yeah. And
had you been making films before that?
Yeah, on my own, but never anything with a crew like that or that kind of production. So it was definitely a new experience. Yeah.
How did that feel to create something, particularly now that it's been accepted into festivals, and what was that experience like for you?
Well, it was definitely a lot more collaborative than anything I'd done in the past. A lot of the stuff I did before that was really kind of just with friends, like on my own, kind of dragging them along and trying to orchestrate everything. But it was really nice to have like someone on camera, like an assistant director, who I could talk to about anything and like get ideas from, because I knew that they were as invested in the film as I was. So it was really nice. Sorry, it was really nice having those creative minds around to bounce ideas off of and work with, and know that they were that dedicated.
How big was your crew in total?
I think five people, six maybe. Yeah, five.
That's great. Yeah. That's great. Yeah, that's to me one of the greatest things about filmmaking is that collaborative experience. Is that something that are you studying that now at Loyola? Is film part of your
oh yeah, I'm a film production major, yeah, in the School of Film and Television.
Oh, congratulations. Yeah,
so
cool for that.
Thank you.
Did your experience with SF Art and Film and making this film kind of contribute to that interest, or were you already kind of on that track?
I mean, I was definitely already on that track, but doing the workshop really got me back into filmmaking and like writing every day and being creative. So, I mean, I think I would have gotten into film production as a major regardless, but it definitely really pushed me to pursue it more my senior year and, put my all into it when I was applying and, trying to get into college. So yeah, it definitely helped.
Cool. So you were the writer of this story as well as the director. Can you maybe talk about your inspiration for the story? Just wondering if maybe the Chucky films played a role, or any of the classic horror films about ventriloquist dummies?
Definitely a lot of ventriloquist dummies. One of the main inspirations was a film called Magic with Anthony Hopkins it was like a weird little horror movie from the 70s. That's kind of the reason I named the main character Anthony. It's about him and his ventriloquist dummy Fats, and it's kind of a similar story where he can't really differentiate between his personality and Fats' personality. So definitely that played a big role. And I just kind of wanted to, something about, maybe being recognized for something that you don't really think is your own personality or what you want to be known for, and not really knowing how to control that, and how that can really take over your life, and then kind of put it in like a fun horror movie.
That's great. Are there any other
Yeah.
directors or films that are major influences for you?
You mean like this, for this particular, like specifically this film, or just
Well,
in
I mean, not
general?
necessarily this particular film, but just sort of in general. But maybe, yeah, if there were any that as far as the way that you shot this film that were influences.
Well, definitely in general, I'm a big David Fincher fan. I really like just how clean all of his movies are, and uh, sorry, I'm trying to think.
That's okay if there aren't any that come to mind.
I mean, with horror, definitely John Carpenter. I love his movies.
So was it easier or harder for one of your main characters to be a doll?
Uh, that was I didn't struggle too much with writing for the doll. I mean, it I guess you're not constrained as much by having to write the doll with any you know grounded personality. It can kind of just be really out there and just have him say whatever you want. So I mean, I think the doll was honestly easier to write than Anthony, the main character.
What about shooting the doll? Was that challenging?
Shooting the doll for some shots, yes. At least when it's moving, because there's the guy off screen. It was either the main character or someone else who was moving it and getting it to do that stuff. So we had to definitely shoot around that, but we made it work, I think.
What would you say were your biggest challenges in making the film?
Well, one of the biggest challenges early on was so I mean it's a ventriloquist dummy. So the original plan was to get an actual ventriloquist dummy for the film. So we were gonna rent one from this. I think it was like a magic shop or something that we called, and we set it up like a couple days before, and they just told us to come pick it up the morning of, because we had to shoot it all in a day. But that morning we called them, or maybe we got a call from them, and they were like, "Oh, there's a misunderstanding. We don't actually have the dummy. It was somewhere else, and someone like didn't communicate that, so we didn't have it." And that was really frustrating. So, but thankfully, the guy that does the workshop, Ronald Chase, he's a painter, so he had the idea to really quickly get the doll that we used and just like paint like lines on its face and cut off all its hair so it looked kind of creepy. And that's how that ended up coming together.
Yeah.
So
Things you have to troubleshoot on the fly. I think that's pretty much the standard of the filmmaking process. It's great to have backup plan. Which scene was maybe the most fun to shoot?
the most fun, I really liked all the stuff outside with the dumpster. Like when the doll was in the dumpster. I remember there's a shot from inside it, and so our camera guy, Alari, he actually had to get inside the dumpster and shoot up from in there. So it was kind of fun. Yeah.
You shoot in San Francisco? Is that where your locations are?
Yeah, it was all in San Francisco.
Did you have any challenges, like as far as location? I mean, you'd only had a couple of different locations. How did you guys manage your locations as far as like scouting them and deciding where to shoot?
Yeah, well, everything except for the exterior shots that was all in the same building, and everything except for the scene where he's in the bathroom, everything else was in the same room. We just brought in some curtains and like a stool for the stage, and then moved in a table and threw up a couple paintings and some candles for the dinner scene. So that was definitely a lot of, some of that we had to come up with like on the day of shooting. I think it all came together pretty well, and I mean, making them look like two distinct locations, even though it was the same room. But yeah, it was all in the same building, so we didn't have to do too much like running around on that day, except for when we were going outside with the dumpster and stuff.
And the dumpster was outside the same location too?
Yeah, it was pretty close by. It's like, the same neighborhood.
Well, and you said you had to shoot the whole thing in a day, right? How challenging was that?
We were definitely really crunched for time. I mean, it was a pretty long day. I think I got there at like 7, and then we wrapped at like 8 or 8:30. But I mean, there were definitely a lot of times where I was, especially with not getting the doll, where I was, worried we weren't going to be able to shoot it at all, or we weren't going to finish something. But everyone was really, really patient with it. And no one was, acting like, oh, if we don't get to like this spot at this time, we're not going to finish it. I think that was mostly in my mind. But yeah, everyone was really willing to just keep going for 13 hours or whatever we were doing. So that made it a lot easier, and kept me from worrying too much about being crunched for time.
Right. So what are you working on now at school, or in general? Do you have a new project that you're working on now?
I have a couple things that writing out like concepts for and like storyboards. In school right now, I mean, I just started, so I'm in a screenwriting course, so maybe that'll help me develop some more stuff, take that further. But there's definitely a couple things to make in the near future, probably, in the next few months.
Have you been able to kind of continue working on your film projects during quarantine? Has that been challenging?
It's not too challenging. I mean, it's weird not having other people around, but I mean, most of the stuff I did before the workshop was either like just me or like me and one of my siblings. So it's not too much different. Not too different, I guess. But yeah, definitely, I've been doing a lot more writing rather than going out and filming because of the lack of people.
Right. Are you in school remotely right now, or are you on campus?
Yeah, it's all remote and online.
Are you? So you said you're in a screenwriting class. Are you doing any production in your first semester, or is that coming later?
Yeah, that's coming later. I was actually supposed to take a production class this semester, but since it wouldn't be in person, I think they did a screenwriting class. So.
So do you have any advice for any other aspiring young filmmakers who are watching this, who might want to, who are either already working on their own projects or are thinking of getting started, based on your experiences and what both what you learned in SF Art and Film, what you're getting, in school, what you might recommend for others?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think something I really struggled a lot with when I was like a lot younger, like maybe 5 years ago, was seeing people were doing online, all the equipment, and kind of thinking that like I needed that to start making films, or like editing software or stuff like that. But I mean, from making, that was definitely the most money I'd ever had to shoot something, and the process, like going about it, wasn't different, that much different from me just shooting something with my friends, other than like the equipment we were using. So I think it's really important just to remember that you can write whatever you want, and yeah, you can just, it's never too early to just write what you want and then shoot it, because I think in the time we're living in, like everyone has, you know, some sort of camera, whether it's your phone or whatever, and, you know, has iMovie or Windows Movie Maker on their computer. So that's more than enough to, you know, go out and shoot something. So just going out and getting as much experience as possible, it's only going to help you. So definitely just take advantage of that, especially when you're young and like in high school. And yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Sidney, for taking the time to talk to us, and thanks for your great film. I wish you really the best with your college career at Loyola, Marymount, and onward. I hope that we'll see more of your films submitted to the festival in the future. Great to see your work.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot. Take care.